Today, our topic is how to avoid emotional reactivity with Stoicism. Life is full of ups and downs, and sometimes our emotions can take control of us. We feel anger, sadness, frustration, or even joy so strongly that it becomes hard to think clearly. This is called emotional reactivity. It happens when we let our feelings decide how we act, often without thinking. But what if there was a way to manage these emotions, to stay calm and in control even when life gets tough? This is where Stoicism can help. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that teaches us how to live a good life by focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. It is not about ignoring emotions, but about understanding them and not letting them rule us. Let's explore how Stoicism can help us avoid emotional reactivity and live a more peaceful life. First, let's talk about what emotional reactivity means. Imagine someone says something hurtful to you. Your first reaction might be to feel angry or upset. Maybe you want to shout back or say something mean in return. This is emotional reactivity. It's like a wave that crashes over you, and for a moment, you lose control. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. This is a powerful idea. It means that even if someone insults you or something bad happens, you have the power to choose how you react. You don't have to let your emotions take over. Instead, you can pause, think, and decide what the best course of action is. One of the key ideas in Stoicism is the difference between what is in our control and what is not. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "Some things are in our control and others are not." Things in our control include our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Things not in our control include other people's opinions, the weather, or the past. When we focus too much on things we cannot control, we feel stressed and upset. For example, if you are worried about what others think of you, you are focusing on something outside your control. But if you focus on being kind, honest, and doing your best, you are focusing on what you can control. This shift in focus can help you avoid emotional reactivity because you are no longer wasting energy on things you cannot change. Another important Stoic concept is the idea of perspective. Often, we react emotionally because we see situations as worse than they really are. For example, if someone criticizes your work, you might feel like a failure. But the Stoics would say that this is just one person's opinion. It doesn't define who you are. By stepping back and looking at the situation objectively, you can see that it's not as bad as it feels. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realizes this, and you will find strength. This means that by changing how you think about a situation, you can change how you feel about it. Instead of seeing criticism as a personal attack, you can see it as an opportunity to learn and improve. Stoicism also teaches us to practice acceptance. This means accepting things as they are, not as we wish them to be. Life is unpredictable, and things don't always go as planned. When we resist this truth, we create unnecessary suffering for ourselves. For example, if you are stuck in traffic, you might feel frustrated and angry. But getting upset won't make the traffic go away. Instead, you can accept the situation and use the time to listen to music or think about your day. By practicing acceptance, you can avoid emotional reactivity and find peace even in difficult situations. Another Stoic practice that can help us avoid emotional reactivity is mindfulness. Mindfulness means being fully present in the moment, without judgment. When we are mindful, we can observe our emotions without getting caught up in them. For example, if you feel angry, instead of acting on that anger, you can notice it and ask yourself why you feel this way. This pause gives you the space to choose how to respond. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This means that sometimes our emotions are not caused by the situation itself, but by our thoughts about the situation. By being mindful, we can see our thoughts clearly and avoid getting carried away by them. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of virtue. The Stoics believe that living a good life means living with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. These virtues can guide us in how we respond to life's challenges. For example, if someone treats you unfairly, instead of reacting with anger, you can respond with justice and kindness. This doesn't mean you let others take advantage of you, but it means you act with integrity and respect. By focusing on virtue, you can make choices that align with your values, rather than being driven by emotions. Another way Stoicism helps us avoid emotional reactivity is by teaching us to prepare for adversity. The Stoics believe that by imagining the worst-case scenario, we can be better prepared to handle it. This practice is called premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. For example, if you are worried about losing your job, you can imagine what it would be like and think about how you would cope. By doing this, you reduce the fear and anxiety associated with the situation. If it does happen, you are ready to face it with calm and clarity. This practice helps us build resilience and reduces the likelihood of emotional reactivity. Stoicism also encourages us to focus on the present moment. Often our emotions are tied to the past or the future. We might feel regret about something that happened yesterday or anxiety about what might happen tomorrow. But the Stoics remind us that the only moment we truly have is the present. By focusing on what we can do right now, we can avoid being overwhelmed by emotions. For example, if you are worried about an upcoming exam, instead of letting the anxiety take over, you can focus on studying and preparing. This shift in focus can help you stay calm and productive. Another important Stoic practice is gratitude. Gratitude means being thankful for what we have, rather than focusing on what we lack. When we practice gratitude, we shift our attention away from negative emotions and towards the positive aspects of our lives. For example, if you are feeling stressed about work, you can take a moment to appreciate your health, your family, or the opportunities you have. This doesn't mean ignoring your problems, but it helps you keep things in perspective. By practicing gratitude, you can reduce emotional reactivity and cultivate a sense of peace and contentment. In conclusion, Stoicism offers many tools to help us avoid emotional reactivity. By focusing on what we can control, practicing acceptance and cultivating mindfulness, we can manage our emotions more effectively. By adopting a Stoic perspective, we can see situations more clearly and respond with wisdom and virtue. By preparing for adversity, focusing on the present, and practicing gratitude, we can build resilience and find peace even in difficult times. Stoicism is not about suppressing emotions, but about understanding them and choosing how to act. It is a philosophy that empowers us to live with clarity, purpose, and calm. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by emotions, remember the teachings of Stoicism. Pause, reflect, and choose your response. You have the power to avoid emotional reactivity and live a more peaceful and fulfilling life.